to go to the Sound Off Hotline and continue the college football discussion. Good friend of the show, Dave Curtis from the Sporting News. Dave, good morning to you. Thanks for getting up with us. How are you?
I am good. It's good to be with you.
Well, thank you for taking some time with us this morning. All right, Ohio State was a victim a couple weeks ago. Alabama a couple weeks before that, and now Oklahoma falls to the hands of their arch rival, the Missouri Tigers. So all that being said, Dave, who's your number one team in the country?
Well, I've had Boise State now for a couple of weeks at number one in my ballot, and I continue to put them there. I think that they're the most complete team in the country. I understand that there are concerns about Boise's schedule, but at this point, at least, I'm not willing to hold that against them. Those players have no control over who they play. The coaches have very little control over who they play, and they've been so dominant, pretty much wire to wire. The Virginia Tech one is looking better. The Oregon State one is very solid. And I think they've done more than any of the bigger conference schools have to impress me so far this season.
Here's where I thought Boise State would run into trouble, and I said this at the beginning of the season, that ultimately, they might go undefeated, but I think conference championships will kill them. Whether it's an SEC championship game or a Big 12 championship game, that extra game at the end of the year that one of those teams out of those conferences has will catapult them ahead of Boise State. Do you see that happening, or if Boise State goes undefeated, runs the table here, you expect them to play for the national championship?
Well, right now, a couple of those teams, Alabama and Oregon come to mind, have catapulted, Boise, at least in the BCS rankings, and they haven't even needed the championship game yet. So there's no doubt in my mind that if a major conference team goes undefeated, that it's going to be ahead of Boise, whether it's Michigan State or Missouri or Oregon or Auburn. And chances are, if there's a one-loss SEC champ, that team will be ahead of Boise. And maybe even if there's a one-loss Big 12 champ, that team will be ahead of Boise if it's Oklahoma or Nebraska. So, certainly it's an uphill battle, and the system is not designed to put a team like Boise State into the national championship game. But I still don't think that has to influence the fact that on the field, they're the best team. They've been the most impressive team so far to me.
Dave Curtis from the Sporting News, kind of with us here on the Sports Sound-Off Show. All right, Dave, let's look at the current number one team in the BCS standings. You have the Auburn Tigers. And the USA Today Top 25, you have the Oregon Ducks. So let's go with the Auburn Tigers first. Any chance they stumble to a Mississippi team who, if I remember correctly, they took down the Florida Gators earlier this year?
I think there's a little bit of a chance, and that chance is there because of Jeremiah Masoli. We've seen him in the past, take over games by himself. The USC game last year comes to mind, back when Masoli was the quarterback at Oregon. Mainly his ability to run, but his ability to throw a little bit and to know an offense, and run an offense about as well as it can be run, is definitely one of his biggest skills. And, Auburn, for all the great wins that it's had, is not a defensive juggernaut. They've been susceptible to big pass plays all year, and their personnel is nowhere near what it is offensively. So, Ole Miss can score some points in this game on Saturday, and if, Auburn maybe gets fat, reads its press clippings a little bit, thinks it doesn't have to play its best game, to win this one on the road, I think Ole Miss has got a chance to, hang in there, and Masoli makes a couple of plays at the end. I think Ole Miss is a live team here, and I can really give Auburn a fight.
Yeah, I think I've been waiting for that too. A lot of people are out there as far as Auburn. Are they for real in the SEC? We're kind of waiting for them to lose that Cinderella slipper, kind of brought down the earth here. But right now they're riding the tidal wave, and we'll see. There are stumbles possible, especially in the SEC. Well, I like this team. I like them a lot. Defensively, they're a mess, but I guess as long as it can keep pretty improved, that could be a tough thing to do week in and week out. How about the Oregon Ducks? They've got a showdown Saturday at USC. To me, this is the bell ringing for them on their season. They have got to come out of this game a tough place to play, and beat their arch rival, who will be gunning for them. But talk about this Oregon Ducks team. I see them playing for the national title. Do you?
I think of the major conference teams that are still undefeated, Oregon has the best chance to stay that way. And it's because it's so difficult to prepare for them with the way that they've decided to play offensively. Not only do they have playmakers over the field, not only do they have an offensive line full of, second-year starters and some third-year guys, that's done a great job all season. But that tempo, trying to snap the ball every 15 or 16 seconds, really bothers teams and is really a unique style. We've seen, Oklahoma's tried to do a little bit of that. University of Houston, Brian Kelly at Cincinnati had it going, but Oregon's taken it to a next level, to the point where no defense so far this season has been able to hang in there for all four quarters, against this team. And I don't see, a fantastic defense ahead on their schedule until the national championship game. So, I think the Ducks have a great chance to be 12-0 at the end. And if they get there with the lead they have right now in the human poll over everybody else, it's hard to imagine a scenario where they get locked out of the national championship game.
Dave Curtis, 40 News, joining us here on the Sports Sound-Off Show. In the Big 12, Dave, Missouri does something they haven't done since 1998. They took down Oklahoma, an impressive win on Saturday night. This Missouri team, did they catch you off guard? Because I didn't see them being this good this year.
They caught me completely off guard, probably more than any other team in the country this year. I felt like they'd be what they've been. 8 wins, 9 wins, really good on offense, below average on defense. The kind of team that beats up on the Kansas States and the Kansases and the Texas A&Ms of the world, but can't hang against Oklahoma and Nebraska. And certainly Saturday night they proved me wrong. They're stronger and faster in the front seven on defense. The offensive line is playing much better than on either of its Big 12 North title teams in 07 or 08. And they've had new skill players emerge in T.J. Moe, a receiver, and Michael Agnew at tight end, to give Blaine Gabbert, targets, to be able to be effective in that spread offense. So, everything's falling together nicely for them. I'm a believer. I think that they have the elements that they've lacked when they've been close to championships in the past. And I think they've got a great shot to go into Nebraska this week and win and keep this thing rolling.
Oh, is that right? You're going to predict it right here on the show. They go into Lincoln and get into Nebraska. I got to believe Dave is hungry to prove, all right, look, we stumbled against Texas. Well, we've got an opportunity here to now take down the best team in the Big 12 after Missouri took down Oklahoma. I got to believe Nebraska seizes this moment, but you're going the other way. You think Missouri continues to ride the high off of that win against the Sooners last week, and they go into Lincoln and pull out an upset.
I do, and again, back in August, if you had told me that I'd pick Nebraska to lose it all in the regular season and Missouri to win a big game, I would have laughed at that thought. But as this season has turned out, I thought Nebraska was certainly more impressive offensively last week against Oklahoma State. But, that's not a real settled team right now. Taylor Martinez remains horribly inconsistent at quarterback. A defense that I thought was one of the best in the country for Nebraska, allowed 41 points last week. I think it's a very close game. I don't think Missouri is going to go in and dominate by any means. But I do think this team has the confidence that it hasn't had going into games like this in the past. And talent-wise, there's not a huge gap between Nebraska and Missouri. To me, if you look at the personnel. So, I'll go ahead and predict it. I think Missouri wins at Nebraska Saturday and stays undefeated.
Oh, very nice. A lot of Missouri fans again listening to the program as we broadcast around the country. So a lot of people excited to hear that on a Tuesday morning. Dave Curtis joining us here on the from the Sporting News right here on the Sports Sound Show with JT and Kuveikis. All right, Dave, one more for you. A number of one-loss teams out there in the country, and this is the time where you can't afford to lose a game. So if you lost one game, you're going to start to make your move up back into the standings. Out of these teams, which one do you expect to be darn close, if not in the national championship later on this year? You've got LSU, Nebraska, Oklahoma, throw in Ohio State, and then Alabama. Which one of those teams do you like to see them in playing for the national championship game, or in the discussion at least?
Still think it's Alabama. They were, almost unanimous number one early in the year and in the preseason. So they've fallen, the shortest distance, I guess, in the polls. I think as they continue to go through their schedule, the computer ranking is going to be very good. Again, some of this isn't necessarily being the best team. It's being the team that best fits this system, to try to get into the title game. And I think Alabama has that profile. They've got an opportunity to beat Auburn at home at the end of the year. They've got an opportunity in a couple weeks to go on the road and beat LSU. I think they'll do both those things. The SEC championship game will not nearly be as challenging for them as it's been the past couple of years when, Florida had all those guys who are in the NFL now and was able to kind of go toe-to-toe with the Crimson Tide. And I think they've got the best coaching staff in the country as well. So I think Alabama has the best chance if they can get to 12-1, to be in that conversation at the end. And I wouldn't throw out Wisconsin either. Great back-to-back wins with Ohio State and Iowa. They're kind of done with the tough part of their schedule now, so it'll be hard for them to impress people with any future wins. But that's a real good team Brett Bielema has got up in Madison.
All right, there he is, Dave. He likes Missouri this weekend at Lincoln. He likes Alabama, the one-loss team, to get back into the hunt. Dave, always a pleasure, my friend. Good stuff from you. Really enjoyed the insight. Thank you. Really would talk to you again on the show. Have a good week, my man. Thank you very much.
You too. Take care.
All right, Dave Curtis from the Sporting News.